with the brake kits are whoa, whoa, it's slippery. Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'm going to pitch my manual M2 Competition against a DCT version. Now obviously I'm not talented enough to drive both cars down here, so I've got my very good friend Stef AB TV.
How's it going?
Yeah,
good to see you again. How's it going?
Very good, thank you very much.
Double trouble.
Double trouble indeed. Don't they look amazing?
Mate, incredible, incredible.
We've lucked it out with the weather today. We're down in Oxfordshire, just near Soho Farmhouse. Steph, tell us a bit about your car and how you're finding it.
Yeah, well, so obviously I'm very fortunate enough to have had it given to me by BMW for about a week. I've had it for about 3 days now, so I've had a bit of a chance to really have a bit of a play with it. I mean, as a car, I love the M2. I absolutely love the M2. DCT, for me, the gearbox is great.
Yep.
So it's going to be a great opportunity to try the manual. Yep. Because as a driver's car, manual is always the one everyone seems to think is the one, but I'd be interested to see if that's actually the case.
So I'm actually really keen to see what you think of it. Steph's also going to be shooting a very similar video on his channel, so make sure I'll put a link to his channels etc below. Make sure you check his channel out anyway and subscribe, because all his stuff's really good. Your editing skills are just next levels. I'm excited also about jumping from one immediately into the other. Now I know mine have got, my car's got a couple of little mods, but I just want to see the gearbox difference and also the ride height. I want to see, what the AC Schnitzer springs feel like compared to the standard ones back to back. It's going to be really good. So next thing, I'm going to jump in the DCT car because I've driven my manual down here, so I know exactly what that feels like. And yeah, let's get in the car.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I'm in the DCT equipped car, so the car that Steph had, and in fact this very press car is the one that I had about 6 weeks ago or so. Took my buddy Ash out in and yeah, had a great play with it for a week. In fact, it's the same one that I took Baron von Grumble out in, and it's a very familiar car. It's very interesting stepping out of my car and straight into this one. It's a very fair and comparative test because I've just spent an hour and a half in that, driving it down here on the motorway on these amazing roads, so I've got a real good taste and flavour of what that car feels like, and jumping straight into this one I can instantly notice there's a lot of differences. So let's just list through what this car has got that my one doesn't. So we've got the DCT 7-speed gearbox, so the dual clutch 7-speed gearbox in this one with the paddles. It's got a few other optional extras, but the main two things are the DCT gearbox and also the big brake upgrade, or the brake kit. I think the brake kit, to be fair, the only differences you're going to get with the brake kits are going to be on track where you're really pushing them. Daylight today, it's 6-7 degrees outside. We're not, we're on public roads. We're not really pushing them, so you're not going to really notice. I don't think I'm going to notice any difference between the brakes. What I have noticed straight away is the feeling in the steering is a bit number, and that's mostly due to the fatter leather clad steering wheel. And it's amazing because when I had my steering wheel done, I did say instantly I noticed a difference, and I wasn't sure if I was kidding myself, but 100% getting back into this with the overly fat steering wheel that BMW M love to put on their cars at the moment, and not just BMW M, in fact all like the RS cars, AMG cars. The only people that don't go for fat steering wheel are, surprisingly or not surprisingly, Porsche, who make the best cars in the world, and as far as I'm concerned, the best sports cars. So yeah, thin rim for more feel. What else do I notice that is different about the two cars initially? Initially, I noticed that actually the ride in this one with the standard suspension is a bit more plush and a bit more pliant. I do feel like I am sitting up high, which I am, but it's amazing that, I guess because I'm very familiar with the car, that's just 20 millimeters lower, my one in front, but yet jumping into this, it feels like a good couple of inches higher. I definitely feel not like I'm on stilts, but I can feel like I'm sort of up, whereas in that thing it definitely feels low. But the ride quality in this is definitely a little bit better, 100%. So the spring rate with the AC Schnitzer springs in my car are definitely a little bit stiffer from what I can tell. Everything else, well, this car's also got the fake sound in the cabin, and my one I've had turned off by DD coding. But to be fair, there's not a massive difference when you're just ambling around town. It's when you put your foot down, you can hear the fake sort of sound coming through the cabin. So as we're now pulling out into a sort of national speed limit road, you can hear that sort of slight fakery. I know my one's a lot quieter, but yeah, definitely plusher on the standard suspension setup, 100%. But yeah, it just feels a bit more top heavy. So it's a trade-off. It's how do you want, and I know the minute I take that car out on some really fast, smoother roads, especially around Europe, it's going to be in its element. And on circuit and stuff, just the fact that it sits that bit lower, it's going to feel great. Really is going to feel fantastic. But yeah, it's a very familiar car. It feels, you know, it's kind of hard to get my head around the differences. It's, you know, as soon as I got in here, I went for the clutch to start it up, but obviously there's just the 2 pedals. Means I can get a slightly better driving position in this car. Oh, these cars they're just too much fun. Steph and I on the way down here, oh, it was such a good, it's a really greasy day today, to be fair, it really is. I've got MDM on because I just don't trust myself with everything turned off. But it's greasy, but what a beautiful day. I mean, look at it, look at the weather. We've really lucked out today. It was a random day that both Steph and I are free. He's taken the day off work. I'm not working till this evening. Decided to come out, and here we are playing in these 2 incredible cars. And this is just, it's such a great comparison. The one negative, definitely, and I'll put my hands up, is with the manual box in my car, is that when you're on the motorway in 6th gear, you're revving way higher than you are in this car. And in fact, Steph and I compared gearing. So he was in 7th, which is top in this car, and I was in 6th, which is top in my car. And my one was revving about 600 RPM higher, which may not sound like much, but 600 RPM that means it's thirstier. Also means it's a bit louder, it's a bit more unsettled on the motorway. It just doesn't relax and chill like the DCT. And in fact, the ZF8 speed's even better. You know, you've got that 8th cog. Whoa, it's slippery. It is so slippery out today. Wow. I'm sure the Michelin's on this slightly worn, or more worn than the ones on mine, because this car has done now about 4,500 miles. My one's at about 1,500 miles, and obviously this being a press car, you know, it's probably had a reasonably hard life, whereas mine's just really been running, so it's only starting to have a hard life now. But I say hard life, I look after all my cars, and I mean, this is my real baby, as was my M140. You know, I document what I do with my cars, whereas other people don't. So although people might think, say, my old 140 had a hardish life, I look after my cars. I love my cars, I'm passionate about them, and I look after them, I really do. And so yeah, just because I make videos of, you know, pushing my cars on track or whatever else, I'm not that abusive to them. I warm them up and I'm very good to them. So anyway, that's another subject. Oh, these are just brilliant cars. I mean, the shorter ratio, there's no doubting whatsoever that this DCT car is quicker than a manual car. It's just, it is. But that's not the point of going for the manual car. You know, the manual car is more engaging. This is a brilliant little car. It really is. I don't think either car is the wrong choice or a bad choice. And in fact, like with the M140s and 240s, if you're buying finance, which I do, PCP, opting for the DCT box, although it's more expensive on paper, you usually find the monthlies are actually, there's hardly any difference. So it doesn't mean you're saving a great chunk of money in monthlies if you go for the manual option. So really, it's down to your personal choice. I know I've gone for the right box. I absolutely love that car, but jumping in this, am I having any less fun? Maybe a fraction, but there's so little in it. This is just, it's such a brilliant car to start with. So guys, make sure you do check out Stef's alternative review to this, because I think it's going to be really good. We're basically shooting the same video today, but we both decided that, you know, who cares? Like, I'm sure if you're enjoying this video, then you're going to jump over to Stef's at the end and watch his, because we're both different people. We've got different takes and things. He drives an A45 as his daily, which is obviously an automatic box. But yeah, I'm really interested to hear his input, his conclusion on which car he prefers and why. But yeah, steering definitely just that. It's amazing. I don't know if it is just the thinner wheel. It might be because I'm on the lowering springs. Obviously, I've got the space as well, so maybe that's inducing a bit more feel into the steering. I don't know, but definitely more feel in that car. Feels a bit more alive. This one feels a bit more floaty, just down to the spring rate clearly being slightly different. Maybe the initial bite on the brakes, there's maybe a little bit more initially there, maybe a bit more feel. I can't be too sure. As I say, really, with the brakes, to properly test them, you'd need to take them out, or I'd need to take them out onto a circuit and really get some heat into them. I think that's when the big brake kit would start sort of coming into its own and performing better than the regular brakes. The good thing with the DCT is, you know, we're in fifth now. Pull the pedal twice, we're into third. You've just got those gears there so quickly, and there's such a short gap between each cog. Maybe it's similar to the 6-speed, which is also very tight, but it's just very quick to get between them. Obviously, I've got the ferocity of the gear change on maximum on this, and I wouldn't normally, in a lot of the F80s, sort of M3 and M4s, I usually have it in the second setting ferocity, just because in those, the software seems very aggressive. So if you have it in the fastest, if you change up gear mid-corner, it wants to break traction. Whereas in this car, the software it just seems a lot softer. Gear changes seem just as quick, but the actual up change, oh, it's so slippery. The up change, the up change is not as snappy. There's none of that engineered snappiness in there, which is great. In this car, like my M1 button, my preferred driving setting is my preferred driving setting is comfort steering, which is just about right in terms of weight, because I think Sport Plus is just way too heavy. And then I have the throttle in sports, because I think comfort's a little bit laggy, especially in the manual, and Sport Plus is just a bit aggressive. Wow, it's so slippery outside. It's literally so slippery. 30% throttle and you can feel the rear end wanting to. It's because it is cold outside. It's 6 degrees and it's greasy. It's damp. You know, the surface is damp. Can't get any temperature into the Michelin Pilot Super Sports. I'm sure this is where the PS4Ss are better in these sort of conditions. Anything damp and slimy and greasy, the PS4Ss definitely come into their own. But this is about the time that I need to change my wheels, and that's in fact what's going to come very soon. Oh, these roads are just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Really, today's just a great day for driving. It really is. I'm just happy to be out here. I'm happy to be following my mate Stef in my car, and it's just a brilliant, you know, days like today are why I own the M2 Competition. This might be a detuned version of the S55, you know, 410 PS, I think about 405 bhp, but there's still plenty of power and plenty of torque there. It's just not as vicious. It doesn't want to bite your head off every 2 seconds like it does in the application of the current M3s and M4s, where it's very aggressive low down. There's that massive torque spike, and I know I've gone on about it in some of my other videos, but it's really true. But look, third gear, 3000 revs, put my foot on the floor. Actually hooked up pretty well then. Pretty much no wheel spin. Wow, what a day, what a drive, what a comparison. I'm so glad that we both came out in the M2 comps. I've got Stef just turning up behind me here in my car. It's just been so exciting following him in my car. I guess I really need to conclude, but I'm going to wait for Stef to get out and we'll sort of conclude together. But I want you to check out his channel and his verdict. Mate.
How fun was that?
It's just one of those days, as the Michael light goes over top.
Yeah.
I mean, everything just lined up today, didn't it?
It has. The weather's been great, although the roads are flipping slippery.
I mean, I talked about that a lot, as I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy, wasn't it? Like, I know it's cold, and I know it was damp in places, but it was literally like hitting patches of black ice.
It was.
And
top end of third as well, like not even like first and second.
Yeah, top
end of third, you're going, what?
Exactly. Yeah.
Mate, what cars, amazing cars.
Oh, today, your A45 undoubtedly on those roads would be a faster machine.
Oh, 100%.
And I think that's where, like, four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive cars, they're coming to their element on days like today. They're so fast, point to point.
Yeah.
But they don't move around like those.
No, they don't.
I'm so glad that I went with the manual still. I was a bit worried today. I thought, oh, am I going to get back in a DCT and be like, oh, this is more fun? But I honestly think that there's no wrong and right car to choose. Yeah. I think the DCT is amazing, and I also clearly love my manual, and I'm still, if you still said to me, stood here and said, Joe, which one do you want to take away? I'd still take the manual, but if I could only take the DCT, I wouldn't be upset with that.
I know. And you know what, you nailed it on the head earlier on as well, like my A45 around here would be mad, but I wouldn't have as much fun as I've just done, honestly. Yeah. It's just been so good, and obviously thank you for letting me drive your car.
Oh mate, but no worries.
Even in the DCT, it's just a fantastic car. Whatever one you choose to buy, you will have fun, I promise you that. Right, I need to go on Piston Heads and sell my car.
No.
Tony, where are you? No.
Yeah.
No, I can't afford it, I'd love to though.
Make sure you please head over to Stef's channel and check out his alternative review, because I'm interested to see his review and I'm interested to see your verdict. Yeah. I think we should head to the pub and have some lunch and a pint of Coca-Cola.
I think that's well deserved.
Yeah. Cool, man.
Cool.
Cheers, Stef. Thank you very much. And I'll see you again soon for another video,
thank you, mate. Much appreciated. Thank you guys. See you later. That's the third. I'm just bad luck. You're lucky I noticed it fall off, buddy.